So I'm Greg Mirams. I'm the Managing Director and founder of a company called Techion.
Thanks, Greg. Tell me a little bit more about Techion and what you do.
So Techion's not a new company. We've been around for sort of 25 years. In the last 12 years, we've been developing imaging technology to really replace the need for a microscope and a skilled technician. So as the Americans say, I think they're the best at doing sort of elevator chats. They go, they say, well, you've built the GoPro of microscopes, is how they describe.
Okay, cool. Love that one. I love the this of that analogy. Sometimes it hits the mark, but it helps you understand the space a little bit more. So, a simpler microscope. Tell me a little bit more about what the technology is.
Yeah, so effectively, we have all this power of digital. Doing online and sending pictures. I mean, the podcast is going to beam this around the place. And if we think of it like this, Pete, if you go and break your arm, they'll take an X-ray of your arm. But the actual radiologist who looks at that X-ray could be having a coffee in Queenstown and just had a look at your results. Now, so this is not exactly new, but no one has really done it. When we look at microscopy, which is, a microscope test is used across hematology for bloods, and it's used across microbiology for urines. And so we, particularly in the human health sector, we're extremely reliant on highly skilled people sitting in front of microscopes. They're really hard to find, they're hard to train, they're hard to retain. We are seeing very large, high throughput machines cost hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, but they end up in our urban centres for obvious reasons, because they're very expensive. And so what we do is that we set up courier services and we collect samples in the regions and we have to courier them or fly them to that big machine.
Yeah.
And what that does is it creates holes in our regions, and this inequity occurs because if you don't live locally, then you don't get the same test results. What we're doing is taking that capability and infilling into those regions where they don't have the skill set, so you can get instant results. A lot of it's AI driven, and you can do that anywhere. So it's highly portable, it's highly regionally capable. On the other part of it is a lot of the clinicians that look at that stuff, they can work from home, which they've never been able to do because they've always had to be in front of a microscope in the lab.
Yeah.
Which means there's a whole workforce that can change their lifestyle. People nearing retirement can continue working. So it's a way that this type of platform capability can change the way and increase the capability we have across our sector.
Interesting. So tell me a bit more about the tech. Is it software, hardware?
So it's a bit of hardware. I'm pointing at a box. No one can see that, but it's basically a little cube box, and you can stack them.
Yeah.
And basically inside that box is same things that are inside your cameras. So it's got same, except it's running through microscopic capable lenses. So everything that you do when you're working with the podcast, we're doing, except that with pictures of samples. They could be bloods or urines. But it's all the same. The post-production work that you use will be the same because all the tech that you use is the same tech we use. It's just different images. So we're now using some reasonably clever deconvolution type technology. So you can increase the pixel resolutions through using this post-production information. We're using technologies like deep zoom, where you can like Google Earth, you can look at it really broadly, but then you can just zoom right into cell level. So for pathologists, that's really, really cool. So I'm sounding like a techie, Pete, and I'm not. I've got people that do that for me. But in terms of really pushing the boundaries of going beyond a traditional microscope, you can have different images taken with different settings, and then you can stack those and configure them and then upload that to AI. You can't do that with a human looking down a microscope.
Yeah. Interesting. Is this and I'd love to learn a bit more about the why. Is this a particular problem to solve within their healthcare setting, or is that applicable across?
Well, it's actually for us, we're working here and talking about healthcare, but the actual pain point is the same. We have, whether it be water testing or animal testing or where we're working in aquaculture and human health, we use microscopes across all sorts of industries, and they all have the same challenge. Ideally, we would have a highly skilled person that we could give a sample to and they could tell us what's under there, but they're hard to find. So we can have someone in the field put a sample under that in that machine, and then we can link the expert in, or we can use AI to do that off an image. So it just transforms the way we deliver diagnostic information to make decisions, and we can use the beauty and joy of digital capabilities to do that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the fact that it's digitized, you've got the image there, you've got the data there, and then that brings in all this potential around the ability to access remotely, the ability to use AI, the ability to do more things around it. So I'm expecting the roadmap or the space for innovation or the research and development in this space must be really exciting too. Where does this continue to go? Like, what's the direction that we take here? Well, what potential does it open up for practices and hospital systems using this type of technology?
Yeah, well, look, there's lots. In fact, there's barely a week goes past where I don't get new applications, people coming to us. But in the health setting, one of the areas that's probably not expected is in the training and certification and audit. Because, of course, you've got these images and you know when they've been processed, who's done the analysis. You have all this beautiful backstory, which we don't currently have. So there's all of that. We've also got, the e-training, being able to upload libraries of images of all difficult diseases, which many technicians never see or see once a year. So, and you can use digital to train these people. And so you're able to improve their technical skills and capability, and you can automate that, and they can be working from home to get their certifications up. So there's that element. When you come to the clinical and the real where the rubber hits the road, it's the ability for people to get that real-time turnaround wherever they are. So, but for most of the applications in New Zealand, we see applications in obviously our regional labs, but our regional hospitals, potentially aged care facilities, doctors' clinics, where you don't have to wait to send that urine sample away for a urinary. You can actually push it through, which means that at an aged care facility, they could be doing data over time. They can put a urine through very, very easily, and you see the cell numbers changing rather than just a one-off moment in time.
Yeah.
So the key thing is it's just like a share broker is more successful if they have data over time.
Yeah.
Clinicians are the same. If they've got data over time, they're watching the number of cells change. They know what they're doing. They know what the medication's doing.
Yes.
That's a huge shift change in the way that we manage, disease.
Yes. Well, the amount of times, you see images of burns or dermatology or generally any images like, is this good or not? It's like, well, it depends. Yeah.
And I want to see that over 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh, now I've got a picture.
Yes.
Well, but it's very difficult to do that if you've got to send the samples away constantly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's that capability, and I think the other real critical part is, as I was mentioning, in a world where we don't have a lot of people with the skill set to diagnose and be available, we crush them because of the volumes, and we want, as human beings, we want more data. We want things like elective diagnostics. We want to be able to, people can walk into a shopping mall and they can get a blood test done, they can just go and do it. That's the evolution, and we need this type of capability to enable access so it's easy. We can reduce the cost of doing that, but it's still connected to the very core experts that we need looking at those concerning results. So it's a way that we can really improve efficiencies across the health sector. And the beauty for us, Peter, is that it's not just limited to one area. You can go histopathology uses microscopes, technicians, hematology does as well, microbiology does. So it's we see it as although healthcare is often silinated, we're humans, we're patients, we're one. If we can use one platform and test multiple and then send it out to the experts, that makes one user experience for the operator, one investment for the operator on the ground. So it's quite a change in the thinking.
Yeah, very cool. And lastly, we're at Digital Health Week in New Zealand and have the opportunity to speak to healthcare providers and those that are doing the caring and also creating the innovations. Anything you're taking away from this event after a couple of days, or perhaps that you'd hope attendees would walk away with and implement back into practice?
Yeah, it's a really good question. For us, it's a massive learning curve, as I mentioned, because we're not from the sector. I was at a panel session today, and on the panel session, at the Microsoft panel session, they said, we need to encourage people to come in and challenge our thinking and challenge the way we do things. And so I think we probably fit into that part, because we do come from an area where we deploy this technology onto farms, and we have farmers and veterinarians using this tech. There is no reason we can't replicate that model, Pete, into human healthcare, and there's a massive opportunity and upside if we can do that successfully. We can't do that on our own, which is why for us we've got a project stood up with Awanui, with Microsoft, to demonstrate the full execution of this platform, not just a box, but like full end-to-end. And I think that's going to be the exciting part. And we will do that in early 25. And so for us, we're very much just in that exploratory, listening a lot with ears to try and understand the industry better.